And so one of the concerns when I start using LinkedIn is I simply just don't know what content to produce. At the same time, how do I distribute the content in a way that actually builds trust? But I don't have a lot of time to actually build my brand authority because I really need to make sales reasonably quick. And at the same time, I don't want people to feel like I'm selling to them because that is not the platform is about. But in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly how you can produce your content in a way that you're not going to become an influencer, but actually have enough trust that you built in order to lead that connection into a sale. So keep watching. And so the first step is to figure out who is your client. And I get people to say to me, hey, Simon, I can help everybody. And that's probably true, but there are millions of users on LinkedIn. You simply don't have enough time to connect with everybody. And so what we do, we really need to start actually bedding down your niche. And a lot of people talk about niches. So what is it? Well, first of all, you got to figure out if you want to work with B2B or B2C. And once you got that down packed, for B2B, you're choosing an industry. That's normally what you do. That's the simplest way. Obviously, there's more complex strategy than that. The second part, if you're doing B2C, what we call is the transformation niche, which literally means that you're going to map it out from A to B, where clients at where they want to be. Maybe a 35 years old married male who wants to buy a property to build portfolio so that he can actually stop working earlier and have a passive income for his retirement. That is a transformation from A to a B. And so the way how we're choosing a niche is we're looking at three different pillars. Number one, the first pillar on the top is a group of people. If you can grouping them, you can group them in an industry manner, or you can group them in a psychological A to B manner. And that's a group of people you want to target to start with. And number two is your skill sets and what you're actually really good at. That's where you kind of figured out what I really wanted to do, what I'm passionate about, because if you're not passionate about what you're providing, even though it's beneficial for your client, you can't sustain that energy and you're probably going to give out some point. So that's the second circle that you need to stack. And the third pillar is the actual client's desire and the actual problems that you want to fix, because people paying 10 times more than they're paying for pleasure. So where you got to figure out what the pain they're currently experiencing, and therefore they're willing to pay to fixing that particular problem. So once you stack the three pillar in the middle, that is your niche. For example, if you are providing a services, just say if you're an accountant and you actually background with medicals, you've got probably some medical doctors that you currently work with, and one of the specialties and the things that you like, probably providing what we call the SMSF, self-managed super fund. You're providing the trust structure, tax minimizations, and property construction. So there may be that your statement is that I help medical professionals to actually structure the property portfolio in this smart strategy in order for them to retire earlier. That could be your statement to actually figure out who you want to target and what do you do for them. So that's the first step, is to figure out who is your customer. And once you got that done packed, we will then need to go into your LinkedIn profile, whether you use a free account or sales navigator, to actually engineer the process to locate the perfect audience that you want to have an intimate relationship so you can actually add them into your world. Now I've got a different training showing you exactly how to do that if you're interested. So you can click that for that particular training. So now you know who is your client, and you also figured out how to actually locate them and save them in the search, and about start to actually add them into your world, because once you post the content, only people you connect to be able to actually see your content and interacting with them in the chat box in order to build that relationship. Now, LinkedIn used to be a quantity game where we add a lot of connections. So you probably see some people use a machine automation, a software to add 50 or 70 people a day, and they have like $10,000 or $15,000 on the platform. But when you look at the post, they have no engagement, they have no comment. That means that they're not be able to monetize the audience, and they are actually not working what the algorithm want them to do. Now it's a quality game. So my suggestions, instead of adding 50 people a day, all you need to do is adding 20 people a day. But how you do that is you be able to look at the profile and to really understanding where they're at and where they want to be, and actually build that intimate relationship, send them a very personal message in order to connect with them. And so if you only do that 20 times a day, you're gonna have at least around about 70% acceptance rate on the request you send. Obviously, you're not gonna get them all accepted at once because people logged into LinkedIn at a different time, and some people only logged in once every couple of weeks, but that's okay. Now, if you're adding 70%, you're gonna get 14 connections a day. If you do that for 7 days, you're gonna have 84 people, and over the months, you're gonna have a 300 perfect audience connections who know that you can actually help them, who is able to pay, and who's also willing to pay for services. So that is the 300 perfect audience sits on your private traffic that you can interact one-on-one, or you can actually posting something, they'll be able to see your things. And that is really, really powerful. If you do that every single month, your perfect customers are just gonna build up. So now you have the perfect audience that you just connected. Now, but they're not your customer yet. So how do we actually convert those lead or audience into a paying customer? Now, to do that, it's all about give them a value. So step 3 is simply just give them a value. And that is what the fundamental of business, which the more value you give them, the more that you receive. So how do you do that? Well, we really need to work it out what they really want. Now, remember, there's a very, very different as a service provider that we think what they actually need, because we all have a good heart to actually help them, but they don't buy what they need. They're buying what they want. But you give them what they need. So what they need is the things that you will do after they're paying for it to actually fix the problem to get them the desired outcome. But what they want is what is it they're willing to pay. So how do you figure that out? Well, really, the best way is to have a human interaction, get on the phone with perfect customers, having a bit of chat, because not everybody are vulnerable enough to share what the true feelings about what they want on the internet. And you could really just sit down or get on the phone with them, finding out what make them can't sleep at night. What are they looking for when they wake up fresh right in the morning? What they really try to achieve, because that moment of truth is the psychological desire when they wake up and when they go to sleep is exactly the things that they care right now. Maybe you can help them make a lot of money, get a lot of benefit in the future, but what they really care right now is what the things will take them actions. So that's what I would dive into the conversation. But I'm gonna share with you one strategy that we use really well in Facebook group, because in Facebook group, people are interacting, they really share their own opinions and point. In that, you can see some patterns, what people care about. So I've just logged into Facebook. It's gonna be really simple. So for example, if you wanted to work with people who wanna buy properties or construction, so all you gotta do is come in here, search property, right? So obviously you wanna search the people who's preferably gonna be in your area, for example, Property Development Australia, Property Talk Australia. So that's all the group that I can join if I wanna target someone who's property developers or people who wants to buy a property. So all you gotta do is looking at the instructions and what they're allowed and what they're not allowed. And as you join the group, they're probably gonna ask some questions. In this case, there will be some questions which you're gonna tell them. So obviously you don't wanna say, hey, I'm gonna come in the group to finding my customers, but you literally tell them something that relates so that you also feel like you're doing property and property development so that you can actually get in the group. And once you get in the group, obviously you just go through your feed and figure out what they're talking about. And from that, you understanding what they really want, what their concerns are, and that's how you really get into the truth when there's a group of perfect audience talk about similar thing. So you'll be able to have enough data to validate now this particular topic is something that they're interested and that what they want. And so therefore you can go and craft some value and give it to them based on what is it they want, which is the next step. And step 4 is where we actually craft a tangible thing where we can actually give it to your perfect customers in order to exchange for a chat, because the new way of sales is conversation equals conversion, because if you can't actually having a dialogue with them, therefore they're not willing to get on the phone or take it offline having that meeting with you, and therefore there's no trust established on the platform. And so to do that, we use a formula called SAGE. Now, SAGE stands for short, actionable, goal-oriented, and easy. Short means something that we're gonna craft really short, where they can actually do something with it really easy and quickly. And actionable means something that if they take, they can actually implement and get result and actually experiencing the benefit of the thing that you're gonna give. And goal-oriented means that obviously we're gonna set the goal. It's gotta be in line for what you're gonna provide and which is what they want and things that we already just figure out. And the last step is easy. It's something they can consume. It's not complex. It doesn't spend a lot of their energy. So the SAGE is really the quickest way for you to add values to get them to have that experience of how value that you can actually give in exchange for that conversation, therefore the sell after that. And for example, this is a PDF with simply 8 pages. You don't have to do anything like this really fancy. And quite frankly, a lot of people like really raw organic stuff. You simply just type it up in the Word document, convert it into PDF. Don't try to brand it so much like what I've got there. I'm just gonna give you an example. Now, this is a perfect client cheat sheet. So obviously I'll help service providers to get high value clients. And so I've given out this cheat sheet, just the first few steps So I've got to identify the customers, make sure they align each other, make sure find they're able to pay, they're willing to pay, and make sure that we can actually give them the right offer that actually help them to provide as a solution to the problem they're targeting to the client. So literally that's the first few steps that I map it out. I put on the 8 pages and I simply just give that out to my customers. Now the format of that, it does not really matter. It can be a checklist, it can be a cheat sheet, it can be a short video, it can be a contact list, it can be a template, it can be a quiz, and it can be a guide. But what is important is you gotta give a sexy name to it. For example, if there's a quick video, I'll call it crash course. If the wrapping of the gift looks good, they want to find out what's inside the gift. So you do need to wrap it up. So now you have just crafted this simple document you're going to give out in exchange for a chat. Anything that you're currently using with your client, you simply pulling out one of those and actually cut into different pieces so you can actually give out every single week, and therefore you can continue to give that value out to your customers. Now, so it's time to actually post that out onto your LinkedIn in exchange for a chat. Now to do that, so literally there are 4 steps. Number 1, we want to give it a sexy name. They call the perfect client cheat sheet gift. So things that they really want when you actually wrap it up with a nice name. Second, you're going to explain how do you come up with this, the reason behind it, the story and the why. And so now it's not only a gift, there's a meaning to it. It's way more important. So people wanted to see what's behind the scene. It's been years experience come up with this thing, how valuable it's going to be. And third, you're going to map it out 3 key benefits. So after people implement these videos or this cheat sheet, the thing you're going to give out, what are the benefits you're going to get? Make sure that it's going to be specific to be the solution towards the problem. And lastly, it's going to be a CTS, call to action. You're going to ask people to actually comment. Now, likely if the people going to comment going to be your perfect customers, because that's people you have just added to your world. Now, these people have a similar audience. So their friends, more than likely it's going to be the same client that you want to target. So there you go. Now you have actually more people that are making that comment, so that hopefully that post is going to go viral. Therefore that you're going to have a lot of dialogue that you chat. Make sure you reply the comments, because the more comments on your post, the quicker the algorithm gonna send in that traffic to other people. So when the posts get popular, guess what? You're gonna open up a huge amount of chat. And so to do that, you need to have a really good LinkedIn profile in order for people to actually connect with you. So if you do want to craft a perfect LinkedIn profile in a simple 3-step, you can actually click this video and actually watch it. I will show you exactly how to do it and the actual template that you can deploy right now to do that. So click that if you wanted to craft a good LinkedIn profile. Now that's summarize the powerful 5 steps we have just covered in this video. Step 1 is to figure out who is your perfect customers. We talked about there's 2 ways to do it. There's B2B, there's a B2C. We also talked about 3-step model, which is a group of people will focus on things that you're passionate about, what you're good at. And also we have talked about the existing desired mix, that's 3 circle into the middle. That is the perfect niche that you can target. Now, step 2, we talked about how to actually add them as a connection. We're doing that 20 times a day and 7 times a week. You're gonna have a plenty perfect audience on your feed on your LinkedIn platform. And step 3 is actually craft understanding what is they want. We talked about how to get in Facebook group. We also talked about how to having a real conversation to actually find that out. Now, step 4 is crafting SAGE, stand for short, actionable, goal-oriented and easy to consume, a thing we can give out for them to consume in exchange for a dialogue. And step 5, we talked about how to actually craft your copies, which is the post that you're making out to the public, so people can actually pay attention to comment, therefore you can actually having a chat. And so I have just packaged the most short and powerful thing I think I can give you about how to get clients to reaching out to you, so without you selling to them. Now, if you enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe to my channel. I talk about things that relevant to mindset, entrepreneur, marketing, and sales. And hopefully that create a lot of benefit and value to you. Now, I like to share and talk to people who's actually actionable and action takers. So if you someone actually doing those work on the platform, and if you know exactly what works for you, please comment below and share with us what's working for you, so that way we can all learn from each other and to actually grow together. Anyway, appreciating you and appreciate your time on this particular video, and I hope that I can connect with you real soon. Bye for now.